Well, that was me pulling up to my family's ranch after 3 hours behind the wheel in a Honda Civic with the AC barely hanging on, all my inheritance paperwork neat and tidy in a folder on the passenger seat. I figured this was it, a fresh start, me as the new owner finally leaving all that probate mess behind. I even remember thinking, hey, maybe I'll finally start that freelance graphic design hustle with a real view instead of Austin's concrete. And then I round the bend expecting to see that faded wooden ranch gate I grew up with, and what's there instead? A blinding white sign, Meadowview Estates. HOA. Private community. No trespassing. The letters so black, so serious, it looked like a threat and a joke all at once. Fresh paint on the posts over the old gray wood that had stood for decades, and a security camera glaring down like a vulture that's way too interested in my business. Before I can even get the engine off this woman in a navy blazer and khakis, imagine a blonde helmet and a clipboard clutched like a sword, she strides out like she owns the weather, lets alone the land. "I'm Karen Whitfield, president of Meadowview Estates HOA," she announces real smooth like she's expecting applause. "This is private community property, and I'm afraid you'll need to leave immediately." Not a question, not a welcome, not even a fake smile, just business. My legs are shaky, but I manage to step out and keep it together. "I think there's been some mistake," I say, trying to sound less rattled than I feel. "This ranch, my family's owned it for 60 years. My grandma never mentioned any HOA. But Karen, she's ready for that. She flashes this smile that's all teeth and no warmth, tells me my grandmother was delinquent on community assessment fees for 3 years, says the HOA bought the property at a tax auction last month, pulls out a folder stacked with official-looking documents, embossed seals, notary stamps, the works. It's theater, but the kind you don't clap for at the end. My heart drops. Grandma paid every tax bill early like clockwork. The idea that some HOA fees could appear out of thin air and snatch up a ranch that predates the suburbs is wild. But those papers, she waves them like they're gospel. That can't be right. I press, getting close enough to see the sweat on her brow despite that business-casual armor. This property's been agricultural since before I was born. You can't just make up HOA rules and slap them on old farmland. Her patience is running out. "Sir, your grandmother's finances aren't my problem," she snaps, making a big show of her notary stamps and county filings. The sale followed all applicable laws. I show her my own papers, probate, will, everything in order. This is my legal inheritance. She doesn't even blink, just dials the sheriff's office on speaker, so everyone within earshot gets to listen to my world fall apart. Within 12 minutes, 12, and yeah, I counted, the sheriff's SUV is behind me and Karen's feeding the officer her story. Trespasser. Aggressive. Refuses to leave after being shown legal documentation. I fumble out my own papers, hands trembling. Deputy Foster. Nice enough guy, but his eyebrows rise at her documents, not mine. "Sir, they've got the paperwork," he finally says, gently but firmly. "You'll need to resolve this through civil court before things get worse." So I stand in the same driveway where my grandma taught me how to ride a bike, and I get kicked off my own land by a clipboard and a phone call. Tell me, would you have walked away quietly or made a scene? It still makes my blood boil. But that's where the fight started, sitting outside a gas station down the road. Hands shaking so bad I nearly drop my phone as I call Rebecca Stone, the small-town lawyer who handled my grandma's estate. She listens, really listens, as I lay out the whole story. Fake HOA new signs, Karen's sudden authority. Rebecca's not the type to scare easy. She picks apart Karen's documents, wrong legal format. No county seals, signatures that don't match any local officials. Then her paralegal Maria digs into business registries. Turns out Meadowview Estates HOA never existed. No filings, no agents, no nothing. Our ranch, Rebecca confirms, has always been agricultural. No liens, no back taxes, no HOA history. We map out a plan, collect evidence, interview. Neighbors gather every record back to the 60s. Mrs. Williams, who's lived next door since the moon landing, is first on my list. She remembers Karen nosing around months ago asking about community development. At the time, everyone thought she was just making conversation. Now it's clear she was plotting, setting the stage for her scam while my family was still mourning. And the more I dig, the uglier it gets. Karen had a whole system show up at church socials, bring cookies to book club, volunteer for every community event. She built trust on homemade banana bread and half-truths, all while planting seeds that the city owners, meaning me, wanted someone local to keep an eye on things. On social media, she was a one-woman PR machine. Posts about responsible development and protecting property values pop up everywhere. The local paper even runs a puff piece neighbor helps smooth transition. There's Karen at the gate, clipboard in hand, smile fixed like a mask. Then she releases a video, me red-faced and frustrated, edited just so. Disturbed man threatens peaceful neighborhood. It goes viral. Neighbors, clients, everyone starts looking at me sideways. Lost work, lost friends, lost sleep. At my lowest, Karen doubles down, pushes a demolition order through for our family's old barn and silo, claiming safety hazards. I'm outgunned, outmaneuvered, but not out. Not. Sunday night, I pack my car with cameras and camp gear. If Karen's going to erase my family's history, she'll have to do it on record. Come Monday, I park my car behind the barn, forcing the bulldozer crew to hold off. Karen, ever the showwoman, arrives with the sheriff and a news crew. I plant myself on those steps, camera rolling, ready for war. But then Rebecca pulls up with an emergency restraining order, papers in hand. The crew has to stop sheriff's orders. Karen fumes, spitting venom for the cameras, but her confidence cracks. I overhear her later, desperate, on the phone. The sharks are circling. We need to move to the next phase. Yeah, she said that out loud. Never underestimate rural silence for eavesdropping. Karen's next move. She tries to get me declared mentally incompetent. Sends her concerned neighbors, really just bar buddies she paid off, to file statements about my unstable behavior. Even the court-ordered psych eval was stacked against me. The doctor asks, "Do you believe there's a conspiracy against you, like I'm some tinfoil hat nut?" I start doubting myself. Maybe I am crazy. But then Mrs. Williams calls. She's been digging through old boxes and finds decades of letters, zoning correspondence, property maps, even photos from my grandma's 70th birthday. No HOA signs, no assessments, nothing. She interviews the mail carrier, the local bank manager, the farm equipment dealer. Every one of them confirms no HOA activity. Ever. Just individual landowners. And it's not just her, other neighbors start coming around too. Folks who'd once bought Karen's act now see the truth. They apologize for sharing that video, offer to testify on my behalf. Community mood swings fast in small towns when the truth comes out. Rebecca's investigator finds the real dirt. Karen's drowning in gambling debt, owes $180,000 to the tribal casino. 2 recent run-ins with loan sharks. Court records, photos, even receipts. And those official documents, forgeries, plain and simple. Wrong paper, wrong stamps made on her home laptop with free templates off the internet. County officials, notary signatures, all faked. Forensic analysis proves it. When the sheriff sees the evidence, he's livid. Admits he should have caught the errors right away. Karen's story collapses. She confesses, "I just needed money fast. I figured nobody would notice if I made it look official. Tried to run car, broke down outside county lines. When deputies found her, she was crying, begging to leave quietly. By then, the whole town knew. Her supporters vanished, leaving her to face the music alone. At the justice hearing, the courthouse overflows. Neighbors pack the benches. Everyone wants to see how it ends. Karen pleads guilty. Fraud, forgery, filing false police reports. 4 years in county jail, restitution, probation, mandatory gambling, rehab. Justice delivered cold. But honestly, the real moment of victory, Sheriff Jackson handing me the keys to my own ranch, ripping down those ugly fake signs. The newspaper issues a front-page apology. Mrs. Williams gets an award for preserving rural heritage. And the neighborhood throws a BBQ right there on my grandma's land. Laughter, forgiveness, potato salad. The land feels like home again. I wish I could say I walked away from this whole mess unchanged, but that's not real. I learned that all it takes is one bad actor in a suit and a clipboard to turn neighbor against neighbor, truth into fiction, and legacy into a legal battle. But I also learned that facts, real stubborn facts, have a way of cutting through even the thickest web of lies if you hang on long enough. So here's the question I can't shake. Does justice really win in the end? Or is it just about who's got the bigger megaphone? Where's the line between standing up for yourself and letting go for your own sanity? And how do you know when to trust and when to dig your heels in? Anyway, if this story hit home, or if you've ever tangled with power-hungry frauds, drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, what would you have done? Where do you draw your lines between forgiveness and fighting back? Your stories in your voice keep these conversations going. And maybe, just maybe, help keep another neighbor from falling for the next Karen with a clipboard.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.